But first to Greece, and to one of the most beautiful of all of its 6,000 islands, Santorini. Thought by many to be a part of the fabled lost city of Atlantis, Santorini lies to the south of the Greek islands. These giant cliffs are actually the rim of a huge volcano. Just over 3,500 years ago, a massive volcanic eruption tore the island apart, leaving a vast lagoon, which now sustains so much of life here. To survive on this island, the earliest inhabitants, mainly deckhands and fishermen, were forced to rely on their ingenuity and their skill to tame a harsh environment. The summers are very hot, winters are stormy and cold. So the islanders dug deep into the rock face and made their homes in caves. These caves are still lived in today.
What a view down there.
In 1984, Kostis Sihas had the idea to turn these caves into an unusual modern hotel, but keeping faith with essential elements of the original structure.
I'm trying to imagine what the original cave dwellings must have been like here. What is it possible to sort of conjure up an image of what they must have been like?
There were the people here. They didn't have any possibility to build a proper house, so they didn't have materials. They didn't have wood. So the easy way for them to create a house was just to dig a cave. So what they
It's an extraordinary thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but
to live that way.
Yeah, but it was the only way actually.
This guest room was, in an earlier incarnation, a stable for donkeys.
It's difficult to imagine what this conversion is now. It's difficult to imagine that they were once stables.
You can see it because you can see the shape of the building.
Yes.
I mean, you see that there is no real shape actually. I mean, everything is round because this is the way that you can dig.
Yes. No straight lines.
There's no any single straight line here. And
Yeah.
you can see that from the top, it used to be a hole. They were feeding the animal from there actually. They were lazy to come all the way down. So from the top, they were throwing, what they were feeding the animals.
So the animals were down here?
The animals were here, yeah.
Difficult though the concept might have been, builders refashioned these caves by using techniques passed down through the generations.
Was it a tough life?
It was a really tough life.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
It sounds it.
Yeah, because the place was very poor actually. They didn't produce anything. And the communities were very closed actually at that time. And the people were really helping each other. That's why you see that the properties, the houses, the one house really touched the other. I mean, the people used to live together like a team because they have to survive actually.
But so successful has been the transformation that these once humble dwellings are now some of the most expensive real estate to be found anywhere in Greece.
You look very trained, huh? You're very fit.
Well, I'm not, that's the thing. No. I can see how this place comes to life in the tourist season when you have visitors here, and it really thrives on having people around. What about the cold winter months when there's nobody around? I know you have work to do, but it must be a bit strange.
It's strange, but it's pretty as well. It's pretty because the place is empty, so you can really feel the atmosphere. You can really see the colors.
But it's quiet.
Very quiet.
Do you feel you need to get off to somewhere else to find some more life?
To be honest, I feel more like moving away during the summer than during the winter.
Getting away from all your guests.
Yeah, get to a place that there's nothing around, actually. I mean, to be like Santorini used to be 30, 40 years ago.
Not content with masterminding the construction of an hotel, Costis embarked on another dramatic project.
So we're approaching the house now.
Yeah, this is the house.
Far from the pressing crowds and accessible only by sea, he's just built a house in perfect harmony with its surroundings, in the ruins of an old pumice mine on the island of Thirusia.
What is so spectacular is how it blends in.
Yeah, it's made by the same stones, actually. You see, these red stones are the stones that come from the top.
Yes.
So it's actually the same material. That's why you don't really see it. You have to come close.
It's a place of perfect calm for his family. And if you're a Hollywood star anxious about protecting your privacy and willing to pay for that privilege, it's an ideal spot.
How did you discover this part of Santorini?
This actually was the first place I discovered when I came here in 1984. So this was a ruin that I used to come almost every evening with my small boat just for diving. So I was impressed that I was in love with this spot since that time.
We talk about the main part of Santorini being a little isolated. This is totally cut off.
Yeah, I think that is what it makes it special. That is nothing around.
And what does that mean for you as the owner of this?
This means a lot, because this is a dream of many years. And for me, it looks like a paradise.
And what a superb transformation it is. It's tempting to think what the miners who once toiled here would make of this place today.
Gosh, look at this view. That's superb, isn't it? To look out from here over the ocean.
Yeah, you look all through the windows and the doors to the sea. I mean, you see water everywhere.
There are not many views much better than this. So you sit here on an evening and...
I haven't done it yet.
You're dreaming. You're dreaming of... You're still dreaming about doing it.
I'm still dreaming of it.
Well, you'll be the envy of a lot of people looking at this. It's quite superb.
Santorini is an amazing example of how, with imagination and skill, some of the most unpromising parts of this region can become the most desirable. Tomorrow, I see what lies beneath this stunning lagoon. This is the Greek island of Santorini, which has been inhabited by successive waves of settlers for more than 6,000 years. And if these clear blue waters have always lured tourists in their thousands, the islanders have always regarded the sea as a natural source of food. In the village of Ia, people still fish very much as their ancestors did.
Thank you very much. Thank you, nice to see you.
I headed out to the beautiful Amalfi Bay with Stavros Kastrinakis, a champion in the art of spearfishing. It's a skill he learned as a young boy, growing up around the islands.
How difficult is it?
We're in the Mediterranean, which is one of the most anciently overfished places around the world. I mean, people have been fishing here for thousands and thousands of years. The fish are just so used to getting chased by humans that they have developed an understanding of what we're doing down there. It ends up being a mind game between man and fish, and man usually loses.
I mean, how long can you stay down?
Well, if we're talking about spearfishing, my dives will be between 2 and 3 minutes long.
And you can stay under for that long?
Yeah. But that's actually doing work. If we're just talking about breath holding, I've gone up to 7 minutes, but that's just staying relaxed and holding for as much as I can.
Yeah, that's an amazing amount of time without breathing.
It's something I've worked on, and it's I don't consider it like either me being special or something magic or extraordinary. I just consider it an understanding of how the body works and how the mind works.
The islanders who swam the depths of these waters all those years ago became accomplished at holding their breath for long periods underwater and fishing with old-fashioned tridents. Today, Stavros uses a more powerful gun.
Is that the smaller
Well,
variety?
that's the smallest that you usually would use for hunting inside a cave where you don't have a lot of room. Today we're going to be fishing mainly in open water, so we're getting a slightly bigger version of the same.
It is slightly bigger, indeed.
Yeah. So this is much stronger, and it's meant for open waters that we'll do today and slightly bigger fish.
Good hunting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Finding the best fishing grounds is part local knowledge and part guesswork. But when Stavros plunges 40 meters into the crater of the old volcano, he's onto a sure thing. The seabed here is strewn with giant boulders, and they provide a natural hiding place for fish. Stavros has just one shot. This time, the fish escapes. After 2 minutes underwater, Stavros returns to the surface. Then he prepares to dive again. The trick is that by controlling the rhythm of his breathing, he's able to slow his heart rate and therefore reduce the amount of oxygen he needs. Suddenly, he sees a fish, and the chase is on.
Stavros, what have we got there?
I managed to get a good-sized sargon fish. This is about 1 kilo, which is very nice for this type of fish. Just hiding under the rocks here in the reef.
It looks as though there's enough for lunch for you and me.
Well, I eat quite a lot. I've just been in the water.
Yeah.
The sargo fish is one of the most popular species to be found in the Mediterranean, and it's one of the finest for the lunch table.
Quite tasty.
Very tasty indeed.
At least we know it's fresh.
We know it's fresh. Absolutely. And it tastes just as good as though I had caught it, although you did. So that's another bonus. And how much time do you spend in the water? And do you ever get a kind of feeling of being almost amphibious, as it were?
I pretty much spend almost every day, with few exceptions, in the water in one way or another. So, yes, funnily, I do get tired being in the water, but then if I spend a week relaxing, outside the water, I really get a craving to go back in.
In many respects, Santorini is not a typical tourist destination. There are no white sandy beaches, but the rugged landscape has its own distinctive charm. And just before day is done and darkness approaches, people flock to the hills. They come to watch the sunset, which locals claim is among the best in the world. Is it any wonder that the Mediterranean attracts more tourists than anywhere else on Earth? But 900 miles across the sea lies the north coast of Africa, and a country that cannot rely solely on tourism.